The story begins with Shouta's parents informing him that they are heading out on a business trip. Starting in April, he would be home alone, but they assured him they would send his allowance regularly, so he should take good care of himself. By the way, this plain-looking guy surrounded by trash is Shouta. Eating bento he buys on his way home from school is one of the few things he enjoys in life. School had started about 3 months earlier, yet Shouta still hadn't fit in with anyone. He had always found his school life boring. Well, apart from one thing he looked forward to on his walk home, the beautiful girl who always passed by him. One day, when Shouta arrived home, he was met by his parents, who immediately yelled at him asking what the heck happened to the room. Shouta paled and asked why they weren't on their business trip. His dad explained that they had some leeway in their schedule, so they decided to visit him. He added that although they would have to travel back to Haneda soon, they couldn't ignore the state of the house. Shouta's mom remarked that she now understood how lazy Shouta was, and she added that she had already asked a housemaid to come starting the following day, which shocked Shouta. She continued, saying that she had just put in the request and asked the housemaid to take care of everything. Shouta complained, saying that he wasn't a little kid. His mom sternly asked whether he really thought he could talk back in that situation, and he was left speechless. Shouta's dad reassured him, saying that they had asked someone they knew very well and that he didn't need to worry because the housemaid wouldn't do anything wrong. As Shouta's parents left, they told him that they wouldn't get any phone signal for about a week and asked him to take care of himself. Enraged, Shouta took off his bag and threw it aside.
The next day, Shouta heard the doorbell ring. As he went to open it, he assumed the housemaid had arrived and replied that he was on his way. The visitor introduced herself, saying she was from Full Heart Housemaid Service and that she had come as requested. She introduced herself as Uchiasu Momoka. As Shouta opened the door, he thought to himself that he would simply tell her there had been a mistake and send her back. With a grumpy expression, Shouta apologized and said that they hadn't put in a request for a housemaid. But before he could finish, he froze and fell backwards when he saw who was standing there. It was the beauty he had always stared at. Uchiasu asked if he was Shouta, and he confirmed it while nervously asking why she was there. Uchiasu smiled calmly, thanked him for using their service, and told her that she would do her best at her job. She then stepped inside, apologizing for the intrusion. Shouta tried to stop her, saying that she should wait a moment because the place was rather dirty, but she entered anyway. Upon seeing the state of the house, she remarked that it was quite messy, causing Shouta to blush in embarrassment. Uchiasu put on her gloves and told him not to worry since tidying everything up was her job after all. As she cleaned, she explained that she had asked his mom where each item should go and that she would organize everything she knew the proper place for, throw away any garbage, vacuum the floor, and wipe it down with a wet cloth. By the time she finished explaining, the house was already spotless. Uchiasu then told Shouta that she would prepare dinner, adding that if she started now, it would be ready by 6 p.m. She tied her hair and told Shouta to wait until dinner was ready before immediately getting to work. While she cooked, Shouta wondered what exactly was happening. When Uchiasu finished, she served the meal, and Shouta remarked that it was delicious. Uchiasu replied that she tried to match the food to his tastes and added that there was more if he wanted seconds. After eating, Shouta took a bath. As he bathed, he thought to himself that he was in heaven. He was grateful that she had prepared the bath without him even noticing, and he was happy that he had gotten this close to her. While lost in thought, a hand reached in, turned off the shower, and a voice told him that he had left the shower running and that it would waste water. Shouta apologized, saying he hadn't been paying attention. When he turned around, however, he cussed out upon realizing Uchiasu was behind him. Uchiasu apologized softly for bothering him and explained that Shouta's mom had told her that Shouta couldn't take care of himself and had asked her to help with everything, including washing up. She asked whether she was bothering him, but Shouta couldn't form a coherent response as he sat there stunned. From that day on, Shouta's life completely changed. The rooms were always clean, he ate 3 warm meals every day, and his daily routine became fully managed. To top it all off, Uchiasu eventually moved in, explaining that Shouta's mom had asked her to live there and watch over him during summer vacation, and that she would now be under his care. Shouta was flustered, but he soon composed himself and helped her carry her bags, saying he would put them in the tatami room on the 2nd floor that she had cleaned the other day, and she thanked him warmly. When they arrived, Shouta wondered where all the previous items in the room had gone. A few days later, Uchiasu scolded him loudly, telling him that the snacks he ate were bad for his health and asking whether there was anything he disliked about her cooking. Shouta, confused, asked whether it wasn't fine to eat snacks once in a while. He explained that the snacks were in his bag and asked Uchiasu not to open his bag without permission since it was his privacy. Enraged, Uchiasu slammed her hand on the table and accused him of changing the subject and blaming her to protect himself. She went on to explain that she carefully calculated the nutrition in his meals every day, selecting ingredients based on their nutrients and origins. Then she asked why he needed snacks at all. After hesitating, Shouta apologized and promised that he would never buy snacks like that again. Uchiasu immediately brightened and smiled joyously, saying that it was fine as long as he understood, and she reminded him to live a proper life. She added that since she always saw him wearing old clothes, she had bought him new ones to replace them, explaining that she numbered the outfits to help him coordinate them and that he should wear them accordingly. When Shouta saw the outfits, he was left speechless. That night, while Uchiasu slept, Shouta went to his hidden game stash. Relieved to find it intact, he thanked the heavens that Uchiasu hadn't discovered it yet. He immediately began playing a zombie video game, commenting on how relaxing it felt, especially with the large screen.
Unbeknownst to him, Uchiasu was standing behind him. She called out to him, asking why he had broken their promise, startling him. She reminded him that he had said he would go to bed at 10 p.m. Frustrated, Shouta threw down the controller and told her to give him a break, asking whether she really thought he was happy being controlled like a child. He confessed that although he had fallen in love with her at first sight, there were limits. Even though everything she said was technically correct, living like that was suffocating him. At that, Uchiasu began to cry. Shouta panicked and asked what she was doing, saying that crying wouldn't change anything. Uchiasu apologized and said that she was crying because she was happy, leaving Shouta baffled. She then admitted that she had also fallen in love with him at first sight. She explained that back in April, when she first saw him on her way back from university, she initially thought he looked cool. Before she realized it, she found herself looking forward to seeing him every day, intentionally adjusting her route to meet him after school. When she later received the request from his mom for a housemaid, she believed it was some kind of divine intervention. She admitted that she had been determined to make him fall in love with her. By finding some Arrow magazines under his bed while cleaning his room, she learned what kinds of things he liked. Using those magazines as inspiration, Uchiasu tried to recreate similar situations in real life so that Shouta would like her. Though she was embarrassed, she did her best. However, realizing she was only supposed to be his housemaid, she suppressed her feelings and focused on fulfilling his mom's request to the best of her abilities. She said that if Shouta ended up hating her, then everything would have been meaningless. Hearing this, Shouta called out to her. Uchiasu clenched her fists and apologized, saying that sharing her feelings must have been a bother to him. As she turned to leave, she added that she should have kept her emotions to herself, and she asked him to forget everything she said. After hesitating, Shouta stopped her, thanked her for being honest, and apologized for the harsh things he had said without understanding her feelings. Although Shouta knew that it was messed up with everything that happened, he still asked Uchiasu to go out with him. He added that if it was possible, then he wanted her to stop being overprotective, and he too would put in more effort so that she would see him as a man. At that, Uchiasu embraced him, saying that she was so happy, and she whispered in his ear that from now on she wanted him to call her Momoka, and he agreed to it, calling her Momoka. When they were done hugging, Shouta said that they were together for so long that he forgot to ask for her contact address. And since he couldn't find his phone anywhere, he asked her if she could tell him his contact address when she moved out. Uchiasu agreed, but asked him if he was really okay without his phone. Shouta replied that he didn't have any friends to contact apart from maybe his parents, but that the phone would be somewhere in the house, so there was no need to worry. Uchiasu nodded, saying that she would look for it when doing the cleaning and that she was sure she would be able to find it somewhere soon. And Shouta found that it sounded very reassuring when Uchiasu said it. From that day on, Shouta and Uchiasu's lives began anew. They lived together freely as though trapped in a sweet romantic comedy, and Shouta wished it could last forever. One Sunday, Uchiasu went shopping. Shouta waved goodbye, telling her to be careful, and she kissed him before leaving. Alone, Shouta searched for his bag, realizing he had forgotten about his homework. He checked the tatami room upstairs, but it wasn't there. But he consoled himself. After all, Uchiasu had cleaned the room herself, so he wondered where he put it. After searching unsuccessfully, he decided to look for his phone instead. Looking at the attic door, he decided to take a look. He checked the attic, even though he doubted it would be there.
Inside the dark space, he suddenly heard a vibration. Approaching it, he found his phone and wondered how it ended up there. Looking through it, he noticed numerous missed calls from his parents and saw that his SNS had been updated recently. Suddenly, the phone rang, startling him. It was his mom, who asked whether he was okay and if there was any problem at home. Shouta brushed it off, saying that she worried too much. He explained that Uchiasu took care of everything and ensured he lived properly. He mentioned that someone had hijacked his SNS, but said it wasn't a big issue. His mom remained silent. Concerned, Shouta asked his mom if she was angry and apologized for not keeping in contact. After all, he just found his missing phone. He expressed surprise that his parents knew someone as young as Uchiasu and even asked her to live with him. Still, there was no response. After a pause, his mom asked who was Uchiasu. Shouta replied that she was the housemaid. His mom then revealed that the person she had asked to look after him was actually Aunt Sachie.
Shouta froze. Memories flooded his mind. How Uchiasu knew everything, where things belonged, and so much about him. As Uchiasu appeared behind him, his mom asked who the person inside the house really was. Shouta turned around slowly. Uchiasu smiled sadly and told him that she loved him from the bottom of her heart, but that it was unfortunate, and Shouta wondered when Uchiasu got there. The scene then shifted to an evening news broadcast. The announcer reported that the body of a young boy had been found in the mountains of the Imagawa ward in Kei Prefecture. The remains were identified as Shouta. Reports stated that a young girl had been seen entering and leaving his house for the past 6 months, and police were investigating it as a murder case. Another report mentioned that the disappearance of Shouta's Aunt Sachie might be connected. Walking through the streets, Uchiasu reflected that she had planned to kill Shouta on the way to pick up his parents after they returned from abroad, but never expected him to discover the truth beforehand. Sighing, she complained internally that this was the 3rd time something like this had happened. Despite her preparations, she wondered whether she was simply unsuited for love. Suddenly, a man complimented her dress. Introducing himself as Nambarion, he asked if she wanted to chat and offered to treat her to anything, saying 5 minutes would be enough. After thinking for a moment, Uchiasu smiled and said that changing genres once in a while might be fun. She added that she had some free time and agreed to spend a while with him if he was okay with it.